Once upon a time, Mahindra XUV300 was the company's offering in the subcompact SUV space. And while it had decent drivabilities and respectable safety credentials, it looked kind of obsolete, and from within, the dashboard layout and feature list was from several years ago. So now, Mahindra has decided to take that model out and bring in this one right here. You're watching HT Auto, I'm Shubhadeep Chakravarti, and in today's episode we're taking a closer look at the Mahindra XUV300, essentially based on XUV300, but with a whole lot of new updates that together promise to challenge some very mighty rivals in the subcompact SUV space. The XUV300 has received a lot of styling updates on the outside. The bulk of the updates are actually on the face of this car. The face of the XUV300 is significantly different from that of the 300. What you see here, this whole portion has been redone. The lighting signature, the DRLs here and the lights here are entirely new. In fact, even the creases here on the bonnet are absolutely new. Now, it is new, but do I like it? Well, at least the face, I'm not so sure. I haven't really made up my mind. I'm hanging somewhere in the middle if this is working for me in terms of my personal preference as far as visual cues are concerned. But on the side though, the XUV300 retains most of its 300 proportions. Now, it is identical, of course, in terms of dimensions, but the styling updates include an all-new alloy design. This particular top-end version stands on 17-inch wheels. You get the car in multiple color options. The one that you see here comes with dual tone shades as well. So ORVM is in black, but the door handles are in body color. Look up and you get roof rails, not functional, but at least they go well with the aesthetics of the vehicle. Now, from the back profile of the 300, it looks quite wide. In fact, the designers at Mahindra tell us that it was a conscious effort to give this car a very wide visual appeal from the back. Now, that is also helped significantly by this infinity light bar that connects both the LED tail lights. The design of the tail lights too have been updated, and frankly, it goes really well with this infinity light, something that we've now seen in several models from several manufacturers. The other updates, well, you get the XUV300 logo here, the badging lettering here. You get a conventional roof antenna here. Could have been shark fin, but well, I'm not really complaining. And you get a brake light mounted on the spoiler. Now, one of the biggest questions about the 300 has been the changes in the boot, because remember, the 300 did not offer much boot space. In terms of numbers, the cargo space hasn't changed, but in terms of practicality, it has, because while the capacity is still nearly similar, or actually identical to what the 300's cargo space has had, this SUV now has more depth, so you can actually pile on one luggage on top of another and possibly over another third to make space. What also helps is 60/40 rear seat folding, which means you can customize, and if there are fewer passengers in the car, then you can pack in and load even more bags. Step inside the 300 and you'll instantly know that it is several miles ahead of the 300. The complaint that I had against that model in particular was that its entire dashboard layout and feature list was, well, quite ancient. Feature list specifically was quite bare. No such complaints with the 300, because 300 doesn't just seek to be far ahead of the 300, but actually takes its direct aim against its direct rivals. Now, there are so many features, especially on this top-end variant, that I really don't even know where to begin. But let me still just try. The 10.2-inch main infotainment screen is absolutely new. It is powered by the Adreno X system. Remember, the Adreno X is what also powers the infotainment inside the cars like the Scorpio N and the XUV700. Now, you get physical buttons here for a whole lot of things, but the touch interface itself is quite good. The control over glare is decent as well, and in the time we've actually spent to experience the infotainment screen, we've observed no bugs or any glitches on the screen, so that's great. Now you do get support for wireless Android Auto and wired Apple CarPlay. Unfortunately, we have not been able to test that because Mahindra tells us that on this particular variant, the certification for both is still in progress. The 3XO also comes with a 360-degree camera, which will help you park this car in tight spots, not just when going back, but also when moving forward. Now, importantly, the infotainment screen also is paired to a Harman Kardon system again on this top-end variant. What you get are multiple sound modes that you can customize. You get 4 speakers, 2 tweeters, and 1 subwoofer. That subwoofer alone actually helps the 3XO really take the fight to its direct rivals. Now, apart from that, the layout is pretty clean, pretty decent. There is some attention to detail as well. You get these diamond-inspired visual interlay here on the dash. It's a layered dash. The upholstery is overall on the seat and partly on the dash in white, which lends this car a very premium appeal. But I say this about white colored upholstery inside Indian cars, they tend to get dirty really quick. So not sure how much effort it will take on your part to keep this white upholstery shining new. Coming back to the portion below the infotainment screen, you get controls for the passenger airbag. The parking light is here, traction control on and off is here, and you get a button for drive modes because you get this car with 3 drive modes: zip, zap and zoom. More on the drive modes, of course, a little later in this video. But for now, if you just go down a little bit again on this portion, you get 2 dials here because the XUV3XO comes with dual zone climate control. Again, a segment first and a segment best feature that is really going to help its claim to stand out from the crowd. You get large buttons to control the air conditioning here, so that is great. And just below it is a 65-watt charger and a conventional type A charging point. And if your phone supports wireless charging, then there is also a wireless charging pad. Now, nothing specifically against the 3XO or Mahindra, but wireless charging pads generally don't have a clasp setup, clamp or a clasp to hold the phone down. So in the short time that we've spent driving this car so far, the phone has actually gone off and on charging from time to time. So it's an advice to Mahindra and most other manufacturers, get something to actually hold the phone steady, especially in Indian driving conditions. But that put aside, you get a center console done in piano black, attracts fair amount of dust and fingerprint, but if you can maintain it, looks quite premium here. This particular version that we're driving is the automatic, so you get the automatic gear here, and you get 2 cup holders and a parking brake and auto hold button. Now, in terms of storage space, the XUV3XO is pretty much par for the course. You have some storage space under the central armrest here, and you get space on the doors for bottles, then you can actually place them nicely. And because I'm on the doors, well, they have a certain sense of heft, so well, it feels good when the doors shut. And of course, on this variant, you have soft touch materials once again here with contrast stitching in white. The all-digital driver display is large and quite vivid. The graphic interface is also pretty decent in terms of visibility and puts out all the related information that you will require on the move. Now, the car puts out tire pressure monitoring system, so the display here that you can see is very clearly telling me the pressure on each of these tires. But just moving beyond that, there are a whole lot of additional features too. Now, apart from the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you also get a built-in navigation system powered by Maple, and the feed from that actually comes to the driver display as well. So that frankly is great, just in case somebody on the front seat is twitching and experimenting with the main display screen. You still have the navigation on here. But the most important feature, of course, is the fact that this car has level 2 ADAS, and you can actually control all the level ADAS functionalities through the buttons here on the right side of the steering wheel. So you move to the vehicle assistance system and you can get a whole lot of features here that you can then customize from these buttons themselves. Look above and you get a large sunroof. In fact, Mahindra likes to call it the sky roof because it is the largest in the segment. And on the 3XO, it actually covers nearly 3/4 of the roof here. So that is again a great point, because you know, sunroofs are clearly a consumer favorite and the 3XO addresses that really well. But does the 3XO actually address a very crucial aspect which was holding the 300 back? Cabin space and comfort. Well, I'm in the front seat and well, it's fairly comfortable here. I have a nice view of the road ahead and the surroundings as well. But what about the passengers at the back? Well, as I usually do, this seat is positioned quite far back to my driving position and style. And well, Mahindra deserves one thumbs up and then again another, because the space now inside the 3XO is really nice. The knee room is great, the leg space is good, and the feet space is also quite adequate. In fact, the only thing still lagging is perhaps under thigh support, but hey, the amount of space I am now experiencing inside the smallest Mahindra SUV is actually really nice. So that's a job really well done. Of course, apart from that, you get two cup holders on the central armrest. You get the usual air conditioning vents here. There is a charging point on the central console here towards the back, and a 12-volt charging socket as well. The XUV3XO is so loaded with features that something that it doesn't get tends to stand out. And therefore, on the flip side, I think Mahindra, since it equipped this car with pretty much everything, could have also put in ventilated seats on the front, because well, Indian conditions, that's one feature that really matters. But of course, it's not just about the visual aesthetics from the outside, the cabin layout, the space and the feature list of the 3XO, but the vehicle is actually making some seriously tall claims about its drive capabilities as well. We're inside the 3XO, which is getting the petrol-powered motor, which is paired to an automatic transmission. I cannot wait to drive, experience and tell you what you need to know about how this car is on the move. So come, let's check it out. The 3XO is available in 2 petrol and 1 diesel engine option with MT, AT and Auto Shift Plus. Our review unit is the turbo M-Stallion engine with the AT. And what a revelation! This is the peppiest subcompact SUV outright, with enough torque to put a smile on your face. The power too is impressive for the pull, and frankly, even in the lowest of zip, zap and zoom modes, well, that is zip if it wasn't obvious, this baby can run. The suspension does feel a bit too stiff, but while Mahindra says the weight is same as the 300, the 3XO somehow feels lighter and more nimble. There still is a fair degree of body roll, but the smallest SUV from Mahindra is a driver's delight and is for the enthusiasts on a budget. Not exactly plush for passengers, but delivering dollops for the driver. The XUV3XO is like the XUV300 and yet nothing like the 300. Will its design changes on the outside help it bring in much more buyers now? Perceptions can be different, so I'll let you be the best judge of that. But as far as the feature additions on the inside is concerned, the space and comfort in the cabin, or even the 1.2-litre M-Stallion petrol engine with that automatic transmission, the XUV3XO makes a solid case for itself. The XUV3XO is a very serious challenger to the likes of the Nexon, Brezza, Venue and even the Sonet. But will it actually leave them behind? Time will tell. Do check out our full in-depth written review of the Mahindra XUV3XO as well. And do not forget to check out the variant-wise pricing on our website. For now though, that's all the time we have. As always, thank you for watching.